Hey, what's up guys? Around half a year ago I made a compositor in Blender that allows you to separate the spot color passes for things like risograph printing or screen printing. Recently another Blender user came in and gave me some new fresh ideas for the node tree setup, so I'm going to be talking about how some of those ideas make this process a lot better and smoother. For starters, I now have two separate windows on the left and the right side. The right side having a color palette that you can color pick from, and the left side being a previewable window of the mockup. I opted for this instead of the backdrop because the backdrop would be kind of visually distracting with the node tree, so it's better to have it as a separate window. Instead of individual nodes branching out the results, there's now a single node group that has the different results and the combinations of different color passes, so you can easily toggle through them. I've also scanned in .green texture to simulate the texture that Riso has. So each pass has a Riso texture applied to it of different orientations. That way you can get a feel for the grain in the final mockup. Under each spot color there are two sliders. Both sliders affect the value structure of the grain. It's intended just for mockup purposes, but it's helpful just to visualize it. Like before, I had an RGB to CMY conversion, but instead of the branching nodes like stated earlier, I have them all under one node group so that you can just use Node Wrangler and Shift Control left click to toggle between the different outputs, a .grain version and a non-.grain version. Let me demonstrate how much easier it is now to swap out your different Riso ink colors. So instead of the color ramps like I used in my previous version, I now made these node groups where it indicates where you should color pick for your base color, the mid value, and the white. So let's say we browse through our color palette and we wanted to pick out a color. We simply go to the base color, go down to the color pick icon. We do the same for the midtone color, find the same color at 50%, color pick it. Do the same for the base color of the .grain texture, find that same color, grape. Go ahead and color pick that. And that's all you have to do to switch out the spot color. Let's run it through one more time with the cyan. So I'm swapping it with the seafoam color. So I'm going to go to the base color, color pick at 100%, go down to 50%. And then I do the same for the .grain texture. I would color pick it at 100%. I made a mistake here and I accidentally did 50. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the rest of the colors. I basically have a CMYK color mixing thing going on. So instead of this like scarlet red, I'm seeing if I could just swap it with like this orangish red here. So I'm going to color pick the color at 100%, find that 50% value. You can see how quick in real time the preview node on the left adjusts to all these swaps and changes. It's almost instantaneous. And then now if we just wanted to see the .grain versions, we just go to this node group with all the .grain passes and just use the Node Wrangler to toggle between them. Like before, as described in my past video, I basically have these color ramps in the beginning to adjust the exposure for each of the masters. You basically want to just kind of cross-check the output of this exposure to the Riso ink color node, and you can adjust these two sliders at the base of the node group called Basecolor to Midtone and Midtone to white, and calibrate what you think the value of the color will actually come out as. So typically Riso is a little bit more darker towards the 100% of the base color, while it kind of drops off more sharply towards like the midway point at like 50%. So that's why you kind of adjust and shift this midtone slider more towards the left. Each printer and print will come out with a degree of variation, so just be accustomed and flexible with that. Take for example this lighter gray portion of this ledge. I think when the ink will get screened through, it'll actually be a lot lighter than the value itself, so that's why I'm shifting my base color to midtones to the left more. Because risograph is a physical process, there's also the change in texture that affects the value structure itself of the color pass, so that's why I included these sliders under the .grain texture as well, so you can adjust it here too. Another node group that's been added in is this misalignment node group. So now you can simulate when a color pass is actually off printed. So if I shift this spot color from left to right, you'll see how it misregisters, and you can kind of see that effect on the preview on the left. So I'm shifting it left to right, I'm shifting it up and down a bit, because those are the two directions that your print will misregister at, and you can see how that affects the overall piece. And every time you print on top of another color, you risk that clarity of your image getting reduced. One way of printing that simplifies the process is by just combining spot color passes together. which I still include in this file. And say for example, I just combine the two darker passes together and the lighter passes together. And by swapping them with two contrasting colors, I can still create that value structure and stylized effect with less risk of misalignment. My hope with this project was to create an alternative to some of the other editing software out there for Riso and just make it more accessible in a program that I like to use, which is Blender. If you're interested in the development of this project, I have a link down below to my Gumroad, so go ahead and check that out. I have a part 1 of this video that you could also check out on my YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a nice day.